Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks. And yes, today we're going to be looking at Tiger 131, done up as it was in the movie Fury. If I'm right, I think one of you guys did confirm that this is the one that was in the film as well. And yeah, first impressions, I do kind of like it. I know a lot of people are concerned about it having the short 88, and that is basically the difference. It's essentially, there are some other differences which we'll go into shortly, but it's essentially a fully upgraded Tech Tree Tiger, but with the short 88 instead of the long 88. So it's the is it the L56? Yep, instead of the L70. But there are differences in this L56. They did announce in, I think it was the news update yesterday, that the penetration values have been increased across the board for the ammunition for this, well, for Tiger 131. And they have, so we'll look at that shortly. Now, its listed Tankopedia price is 7,700 gold, and it's in the store at the minute in an ultimate bundle, and it's also bundled up with Fury. It will be coming out in cheaper bundles, but they are on a timed release, which is a bit frustrating for some people that are wanting the base bundle. But interestingly enough, there is no equipment included with these bundles, and I know one of the things that was concerning people was the way that discounts are worked out, and the fact that they included the gold to silver conversion costs to pay for the equipment. So it seems that, well, there's no equipment with these, and there doesn't seem to be with any of the other bundles to do with the tank bowl either. Now, I know I said originally that I didn't think I'd be able to do this and the T95E2 until the weekend, only one of them, but fortunately I have been fortunate enough to be able to get the T95E2 as well, so that one will be tomorrow's review. Now, with this one being a premium Tiger, you do get the bonuses, so you've got a 30% silver bonus and a 20% XP bonus, so let's get that out of the way and let's get looking at it. Right, well, it's got 1500 health, the same as a normal Tiger, and there are a few other subtle differences as well, so let's just go and have a look at the gun. Now, it's got the same engine size as a normal Tiger, 870, and as near as damn it the same power to weight ratio, which we'll look at when we look at the modules. Now, this short 88 has a rate of fire of 10.91. Now, when you get this on the normal Tiger, it has a rate of fire of 9.5, so just over around a minute faster, and it also has an aiming time 2.3 and accuracy 0.38. Now, the penetration is 132 for your standard ammo and 171 for your premium ammo, and I think it's about 44 for your HE ammo. On this one, like I say, you've got the 10.91 rate of fire. Penetration is 169 for your standard rounds, 220 average damage, which is the same, and 227 for your premium instead of 171, so that's instead of 132 and 171. And 53 and 270 for your HE rounds. Damage, I think, is the same, but penetration is higher by 9. But that's quite a big difference for your standard armor piercing and your APCR, which I think are your premium ammunition on this. That is quite a big increase to the penetration on those. Aiming time at 2.3 seconds, and accuracy is slightly improved as well at 0.36, but it's not quite as accurate as the standard long 88 on the standard Tiger, sorry. Now, hull traverse is increased. I think it's 26 on the standard Tiger, but I'll check that in a minute. It's 28 on this. However, the turret traverse is decreased down from 23 to 20. Same view range, but you do have a shorter signal range at 620 instead of, I think it's 715 on the standard Tiger. Now, supply cost, it's 252 for your armor piercing, 3,200 for your APCR, and 252 for your high explosives. I just want to check the cost. Yeah, it is 26 for the normal Tiger and the signal range as well. Now, the armor piercing, I think they're the same price, so they're 252, is that what I said? And same for the high explosive, but the APCR is slightly cheaper on the Tiger 131, which is, well, that's quite nice actually, considering this does have the bonus, yeah. But they are slightly cheaper when I can stop pressing the wrong button. Now, crew, well, you get a special crew with it. Gustav von, when I can find his second name, Gustav von Vest, I hope I've said that correctly, and he comes with the Deadeye perk already on it. Now, I've left that on there I don't know why. I suppose I could have swapped it out for Sixth Sense, but I thought I'd just leave it on and train them up as a fresh crew. So I'm training up repairs. I'm also going to probably swap that out for Sixth Sense as soon as it's done, and then train it up again, maybe swap it out for track mechanic, possibly even go for situational awareness. The Tiger, when it's top tier and you're against a lot of lower tier stuff, you know, there's lots of people out there that are familiar with the Tiger, it can bounce quite a lot of shots, you know, when you're up against the tier 5s and 6s. This does get preferential matchmaking, so it won't see anything above tier 8 as well, which is quite nice. But you can angle and you can bounce a few shots, but it makes a very good support tank and a very good sort of medium to long range sniper tank. I'm not saying, you know, for camping at the back, but it does do that. Now, that's why with the equipment I've gone for coated optics, because I feel with this, with the slightly lower alpha damage, only slightly, and with the slightly lower pen, I feel that outspotting my opponents might be a bit of an advantage for me. I mean, it always is anyway, but that's why I've gone for coated optics. On a normal Tiger, I've got vents. I've also gone for the gun lane drive and the gun rammer, and personally, yeah, I think apart from that, or maybe swapping the optics out for vents, that would possibly be the best setup for this. But again, that's something that you can look at for yourself. Now let's have a look at the modules. Well, concealment for starters is slightly increased over the normal Tiger at 0.13 and 0.08. I think the normal one is 0.11 and 0.05 if memory serves me. Maximum speed is the same, 40 kilometers an hour, and obviously, you know, your reload time is different as well. Now, engine placement, same as the normal Tiger. That's got a power to weight ratio of 15.29. This is 15.30, so as near as damn it, exactly the same. Same forward speed, same reverse speed, same chance of fire, which is 40 kilometers an hour, 12 kilometers an hour, and 20%, and that, you know, respectively. So again, it is the same as the normal Tiger. Now, there are slight differences also in the gun elevation and depression. This gets a maximum elevation of 15 degrees, which I think is 2 more than a normal Tiger with the long 88, and it gets a maximum depression of -8 degrees, which is 1 more than the normal Tiger with the long 88. That gets -7. So it's got, you know, that bit of an advantage as well, and it's only 1 degree, but it can make a difference. Now, we've already said that the hull traverse is 2 degrees faster, but also the terrain resistances are slightly better for, I think that's, well, is hard. Is it classed as hard, which is your roads, or is hard as in hard going as your swamps? I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, it's 1.3 and 2.8. The standard Tiger is 1.1, 1.4 and 2.7. So there is that small difference there as well. Quite a major difference in the turret traverse. 3 degrees is quite a lot, you know, it's quite a sort of big difference, especially when you're down in the low 20s, you know, when you're higher up in the sort of, you know, maybe 42 to 45 isn't, you know, too much of a difference, but 20 to 23, that does slow it down quite considerably for the turret traverse. Radio down in the front, right in the middle of the hull, and that's 620 meters, and again it's slightly less than the normal Tiger, which is 715, again if memory serves me right. Ammunition, well, there's a lot of ammunition blocks in here, all under the turret. I think pretty much again it's the same as the normal Tiger, which would make sense, but yeah, basically the side of the tank underneath the turret, that's where you want to be hitting if you want to be trying to hit the ammunition blocks, and that's my favourite place to try and hit Tigers. It always is, especially with something like when I'm in the KV2, or, you know, something that fires massive high explosive, because if you can pen the side of a Tiger there, there's a good chance you're going to pop his turret when you're firing that massive shell through it. Crew-wise, we've got the driver and the radio operator right down in the front of the hull, and then up in the turret you've got the commander under his commander's hatch, and the gunner and the loader as well. Armour-wise, again, same as the normal Tiger, so you're talking, and this is for the hull and the turret, 100mm on the front, 80 on the sides, and 80 on the rear. We'll have a look at it in closer detail. Well, the floor of the hull, the floor of the, well, the bit of the hull that's just over the tracks there, and the whole top deck, engine deck, front deck, top of the turret, top of the commander's hatch is 21 to 30mm. 31 to 50, well, that's a thin strip around the top of the commander's hatch, the tracks as well, and don't forget they will act as a certain amount of spaced armour, and also just the edges of the gun mantle. 5170 is the lower sides of the hull behind the tracks, but you do have the tracks in front of that, so you know that could be a fair old thickness, up to sort of 80mm combined, I would say, possibly. You've also got the, well, I'm assuming the drivers and the radio operators hatches. You've got the very thin rim of that, which falls into that category. A thin strip just at the very, I don't know what you call that. It's where the, is that the driver's plate possibly? Or, well, anyway, the front plate, the main flat bit, the top strip of there. And also the very sloped upper glacis as well falls into that one. But I mean, that's, you know, that's more or less, I'd say that's an auto bounce really, with how angled that is. And the lower glacis as well falls into that category, but that is very well sloped. But again, you know, Tigers against their own tier and higher tier, the armour doesn't really stand up even when angled particularly well, unless you get lucky. It's more for side scraping up there, and again at range, you know, angled at range the armour can stand up, because don't forget, shells lose penetration over range. 71 to 90, well, this is supposed to be the sides and the rear, which are 80, and it does seem to be that, just flat 80 all over for the upper hull sides, the rear of the tank, and all around the turret, and also the lower part of the commander's hatch. And if you are having trouble penning a Tiger from the front, if you are sort of lower tier, then the commander's hatch is where you really want to be trying to go for. 91 to 120, well, that's the, what I call the lower glacis, and also the flat plate in front of the driver. I don't know what you want to call that bit, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not, you know, some of these terms, I'm getting there with most of them. You've also got behind the gun mantle as well, falls into that category, so you've got the gun mantle over armour as well, so it is very, well, the gun mantle on the Tiger is quite tough, and especially when you're angling quite a bit as well, you know, it can be quite tough to get through. But the commander's hatch is one of the easier places, or if you can, it's got a big old turret ring. It does fall into that category, but it is quite easy to jam that as well. And then 120 to 160 is the rest of the gun mantle, and I think that about covers it. So yeah, we've covered really where to shoot a Tiger. I mean, if you're going to try and do it where the driver's hatch is. Anywhere that's there, if you've got the pen to get through, it's the flattest part. Otherwise, it's the commander's hatch. It's one of the easier places to pen a Tiger as well. But enough of me going on about it in the garage. If I've forgotten anything, I shall mention it in the replays, but let's get in there and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. It's a tier 7 match, and it's Tundra, and it's a standard battle. And let me be the first to say this is not a brilliant match for me. It's not a bad one, but it's not a brilliant one. There's a 5-man Tiger platoon on our team, 4 hammers and a Tiger 131, and they basically sort of run away with the match and get most of the damage between them. But it does show you some of the differences between this and the standard Tiger, and also it kind of shows you that gun. Now, I know lots of people weren't overly happy about it having the short 88. It's good that it's been buffed, but do remember that there are plenty of tanks that use the standard version of the short 88 with the 132 penetration and do get into tier 8 matches, such as the T3488, the VK3601H, the VK3001P, I think the 3002D as well, the tier 7 I think it is, and that sees up to tier 9, you know, that tier 7 medium. I'm pretty sure that one's got the short 88. So yeah, there are plenty, and this one has, like I say, had its penetration increased across the board, which is quite nice, and it does work quite well. However, there are certain tier 8s that you will struggle with, even close range, never mind at a distance. Japanese super heavies spring to mind. Is it the Oho? And in fact, I think I come up against an Oni in this match. In fact, here we are. And you'll see how it sort of handles the frontal armour of that. Now, when I'm in the standard Tiger, at this range, definitely punch straight through the flatter sort of glacis plates on the front without much difficulty at all. But this gun struggles a little bit. So you are You are occasionally going to have to, you know, use some premium ammunition, but this gun still works, definitely, and the increase in rate of fire is quite nice, and people will get used to it, but it has caught a few people out today when I've been in this. And again, like I was saying before, that extra 1 degree of gun depression, it doesn't sound a lot, but it, you know, it does help out every now and again. Now I've switched, you notice, to premium to try and get through the front. I think I might stick with premium and try and put it through his turret, unless this Tiger Hammer takes him out. No, he's done. So I'm going to switch back to standard ammunition. Oh, there's a Stug 3G over there. Now, did he pen or was he firing high X? I'm not entirely sure. He could be penning actually. And he's done, and then there's the enemy Tiger 131. Now, also, I have, with this gun, with the standard ammunition, bounced off the front of angled Tigers and Hammers. I'd say at about maybe 250, 300 meters, something like that, possibly. They were, you know, they were angled, and it was sort of bouncing off the front every now and again. But this gun does work, you know, I quite like this tank. I like the normal Tiger, I really do. I don't go in it that often at the minute, because I've got other ones that I want to concentrate on. It's not one that I'm planning on getting rid of. I think I'll keep it. And I much prefer this to the Hammer, because this has got the bigger engine. Even though that's not quite as historically accurate, if I remember rightly, I think, doesn't the Hammer having the smaller engine, or did they buff the Hammer to give it the bigger? I can't remember now, but anyway, when the Hammer came out, at least, it had the smaller engine from the pre-buffed Tiger, which I think was more historically accurate engine-wise, but this is sort of more historically accurate gun-wise. But no, I do like this tank. There are probably a lot of you out there that like the normal Tiger and won't like this tank. But, you know, I'm not here to promote this, or, you know, to try and tell you to go and buy it, or to convince you to buy it. I'm just here to show you what it's like, tell you its features, give you my opinion on it, and that's all it is, my opinion. And your opinion might differ, and that's fine. Everybody has different opinions. But yeah, just that's it. And then it's up to you to make up your mind as to whether you'd like to buy it. But like I say, I didn't. Well, yeah, not a particularly good match for me. 1,156 damage, no kills, and came 6th after the 5-man platoon, who seemed to sort of, well, they did run away with the match and carry that one. But it did show you some of its weaknesses, some of the differences as well when I came up against the front of that Japanese super heavy. And at range as well, you know, there are the odd tier 8 that you're going to have to fire premium ammunition at, I'm afraid. But then again, you do with a lot of tanks, so it don't really make much difference. So here we are for the second one, and this one is a better match. It's tier 7 again, and highway standard battle. And with this having preferential matchmaking, I have been in the odd tier 8 match today, but not many. And the ones that I was in, there weren't many tier 8s in there. There were about 3 or 4 on each team, and that was it. So yeah, it seems to be quite favourable on the matchmaking. But even in the tier 8 matches, you know, it still stands up. It does quite well in the tier 8 matches. I just didn't last very long in them. I played a little bit too aggressive in one of them. Did, you know, 5, maybe 6 pens, but then I just got absolutely hammered when I put myself in a bit of a bad situation. And another one, Artie showed a large interest in me. So that one, you know, I was having a fairly good match, but then Artie just gave me a pummeling and it was over. But yeah, I don't know, you just kind of play it like a Tiger, I suppose. Some people do prefer to stay back in their Tiger and play it in that sort of support sniper role, and you know, I do in tier 9 matches. I do mostly in tier 8 matches. In tier 7 I do like to be quite aggressive in it. And I've come up the western side of the map, and we've not got a bad team spread actually, although those guys do seem a bit reluctant to go into the town. I must admit, I am one of the top tier heavies, but I just felt that this, even though, you know, the Tiger is quite good at side scraping, you can't just sit out there, because they could, you know, pen your commanders at you if that's on show, or occasionally, if they've got enough pen, put it through the front of your turret. But it is a good side scraper for working in the cities. But I just wanted to bring it up this way. Normally not many people come up this way, so I just wanted to come up here to cover it. This was actually just the second match that I played in it, so even though I knew what it was capable of, I just wanted to sort of put the gun to the test, so I thought I'd just, yeah, well, trundle up here. And it's not been bad. We made short work of that. Was it a T150? Moving down here, I do pop round the corner a bit too much and take a hit from the VK3601H. Managed to get another one into the T3485, and this is where I set myself up a bit better. Try and go for the side scrape, and I'm going for the front drive wheel to track him. Pull forward slightly because I think I pulled back just a bit too far. Now he's bouncing, and I've got the rate of fire to put them straight through his front drive wheel, and if you watch, he didn't even get another shot off because my rate of fire is slightly quicker. So over time, obviously, you know, that rate of fire difference builds up. Now, was it a T3485 or was it just a T34? No, T43, there you go. Oh, and I managed to set him on fire and he's done. Now, let's see what else we can do. And I've just noticed on here, and I don't know if it'll come through when it renders, the colour keeps going a little bit funny at the bottom of the screen. Now, it wasn't doing that while I was playing, and I'm not sure why it's doing it now. I want to manage to take out the T25/2, but I'm just sort of, it might not even come through when I render it. It could just be because it's a preview, but just making you aware, I have noticed that, well, noticed the colour going a bit funny, so I don't know if that's going to come through when it's actually rendered. Now we pretty much seem to have won the northwestern side. The guys down in the south, they've done a good job of holding off the enemy team coming through the town. I think it was quite wise of them not to go into the town with what was down there on our team, mostly mediums, and I think doing what they did, covering from that ridge and having somebody spotting and, you know, providing that supporting fire. Well, that's what it looked like they were doing from the map anyway. That seemed to be the better idea, and it's worked. Now, I didn't have a shot at that AT up there, and I'm going to work my way around the back of the enemy cap, and I'm going to go and try and find Artie, because if I can find him and take him out, then I could possibly work my way down the map. If the AT is still there, try and take him out, and if all goes well, move on down to the southeastern corner where the town is and try and mop up. That's if those guys haven't done that. Might be overestimating my own ability, but if I get rid of Artie, it means I've not got him at my back while I'm trying to do that. And I'm going to use the old and the simple trick of just not driving through the cap circle. I used to do it all the time. Never occurred to me that that obviously alerts the enemy's position. Anybody near there were like, oh, somebody's coming to get me. And yeah, that's Artie done. Now don't forget, this is a pretty fresh crew. I've just got the Deadeye perk, is it? And just building up repairs, but this was just the second match that I played. And this match, well, I don't want to sound too overconfident, but it's about, well, it's all but over really. So I think I'll use this time while I'm on my way down there to sort of wrap up a little bit. Well, I like this tank, I do. I like the normal Tiger. This has got the silver bonus and the XP bonus as well, and it's got that increased rate of fire, although it does have obviously the lower penetration, not quite as good accuracy, and the slightly lower damage. It's got slightly increased hull traverse, it's got slightly better concealment, although you can't put camouflage on it, so maybe that just accounts for that. And yeah, the turret traverse, it is 3 degrees slower, I can't say that it's caused me any issue, though. Honestly, I can't say it's caused me any issue yet at all. That was lucky. That was a very lucky shot. I've not really noticed it. So, you know, it's there. Whether you'd notice it, I don't know. But I've not been in the Tiger very much recently, so maybe that's why I've not really noticed it. But all in all, I do like this tank. Whether it's worth the most expensive bundle, you get premium time and boost stops with it, that's up to you. If you really like the Tiger, I would say excuse me, I would say it's worth at least looking at picking up the base bundle when that comes out. But yeah, not a bad match there. I got my ace tanker, got a top gun out of that, and a high caliber as well, 3,184 damage done, and a daily double of 5,768 XP. So yeah, quite happy with that, and came top of the table. So, but yeah, I like it. Like I say, there are possibly a lot of people out there that won't like it, but at least now you've seen it, you know what its penetration values are, you know what its gun can do, and everything else, and the differences between a normal Tiger. So I hope I've helped you make up your mind, and I'll be back tomorrow with the T95E2 review. So as always, take care out there, and I will catch you next time. See you later.